Yep, let's go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back to the African Fighters Pod. I'm your boy Jibril from the African Fighters, and it's one half of, or one quarter, or one trio, one of the trio
Two
of the
thirds.
Africa of the
Two
Wazobia
thirds.
gang. Yeah,
It's
so
actually
it
2/3 of the
is
Wazobia gang.
2/3 of the Wazobia
Yeah.
gang, ladies and gentlemen, from London, England. He is the president, Israel Adesanya fan club. And as you know, this is his fight week. The whole of this week, my brother is not going to rest. Ladies and gentlemen, from London, England, Ademola Odewade. What's up, my brother?
Hey, bro. Glad to be alive. Up and grateful. And of course,
Up,
we go to war this week. We go to war. Yeah, and we'll
up
come
and
out
grateful,
victorious.
up and
Yeah.
grateful. Thank you, thank you. If you're
Uh,
joining us live, please do us a solid, leave a like. Would really, really appreciate it. Guys, this is episode 70 of the African Fighters podcast, and it's been a long journey. We've seen ups and we've seen downs. We've been happy and we've been sad. But yes, the show goes on, as they would say in the squared circle. Um Today, or I should rather say this week, there isn't too much going on with regards to fights. I don't Yesterday being Saturday, the only fight nights that happened that is worth talking about is the PFL Bellator card. That one that had that banger of a match, main
the main
event,
event
Nurmagomedov
it
versus
was lit.
Paul.
It
Yes,
was lit,
there
bro.
was so many. There was like split conversation online about who won and
Mhm,
who lost.
mhm.
But hey, we're not going to be talking about that. We are going to dive into UFC Fight Night that is happening February 1st, this Saturday at ANB Arena in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. As part of the Riyadh season, Israel Adesanya versus Nassourdine Imavov. We're also going to talk about the four Africans on that card, namely Israel Adesanya, as I've already mentioned, Fares Ziam, Oki Bolaji, and Hamdi Abdel Wahab. And again, one topic that we are not going to stop talking about. This is our manifestation. This is what we want as the African gang of African fighters. We want to see another all African main event in the UFC as we've seen before. This time, Israel Adesanya versus Dricus Du Plessis for the middleweight title. They'll be scrapping for the second time. And me and Demola are going to tell you how that is going to happen. All right, we're going to manifest it here, live and direct. Yes, and I believe both parties want that, including the promotion. But we'll get into that. But before we do, ladies and gentlemen, again, I just want to remind you, hit the like button, subscribe. We are on Patreon as well. If you want to support the boys, that would be very, very, very much appreciated. Before we hop into it, ladies and gentlemen, here is 5 bottles of energy for everybody.
He said 5 bottles of NSC VSOP.
Yes,
He said 1 for the DJ, 1 for the head man. He said 1 for the staff, 2 for in table.
So their father.
Oh my
Now that we're
God.
hyped up, we're raised, we're gonna get into it.
You're
All right,
hyped up, bro.
Dems.
Oh.
We touched into this fight sometime last week. However, what I want to understand is this week like this,
Mhm.
I want both of us to talk about how we see Easy's path to victory in this fight. And we've also seen Imavov's path to victory in this fight. But I will take yours first, right? And I want you, as the president of Israel Adesanya fan club, I'm pretty sure you have already run multiple scenarios in your head of how joyful of a night it's going to be for you guys on Saturday, you and your people in your camp. So tell me, my brother, how is Easy gonna get it done in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia?
Okay, I'm gonna start with saying it's gonna be easy money, right? Because I did manifest this. If you remember, immediately after Easy's loss to Du Plessis in Australia, I said it. I looked at the top 5. I looked at the top 10 middleweights, right? And so Easy has to go back to the drawing board. And who is that path of least resistance in terms of the philosophy of styles make fights, right? the easiest style that I could find, that would be suitable for a comeback for Adesanya in the top 5, it was Imavov, and it did happen. So it feels nostalgic, right? And it feels like, okay, my manifestation is coming through. Beat Imavov, and of course, you get back to title contention. In the remote possibility, if you step into that cage, there's always that possibility that the opponent, has a probabilistic chance of winning. And to be very honest, I strongly think that if Imavov, is able to by hook or by crook win, I think Adesanya should call it quits with MMA. Like, he's
Wait,
blessed.
Oga,
Right?
we are drifting away.
Yeah.
I want
So
you to tell me what is Israel's path to victory against Imavov. What is it
it
that
is
Imavov has to
simple.
do?
It is very, very simple,
And I don't
brother.
want you to tell
Right?
me
It's gonna
I don't
be
want you to tell me, oh, believe in yourself, just like
it's not it's going to be
just
like
like
we say, styles make fights. I'm not a
mhm,
casual,
mhm.
right? So we see that style of easy chopping, going from, it's even come up with the CKB boys, going from chopping the legs to body shots to headshots, right? So easy style is very, very well suited to break down a person like Imavov. Round 1, chop him down, slow him down with the leg kicks, right? Round 2, go to the body, head hunt, and with the question mark kicks. So I foresee probably like a round 2 or round 3 KO for easy, either by strikes or by a head kick, or I feel like easy might want to pull out something of his grappling bag, because he's been saying he wants to, have some wins, maybe by way of submission. So I guess he will probably, wear him down and maybe take him to the ground and maybe submit him. Once he gets a knockdown, he might want to go into local submission. That's how I see it playing out.
What?
Round 3,
All
most
right.
likely. Yeah,
Wait. So
3.
here's the thing, right? I went back and I watched Imavov's fight against Sean Strickland. That is
Okay.
his last loss in the UFC.
Mhm.
And he lost to Sean Strickland by unanimous decision. And I went back and I watched Easy's loss to Sean Strickland. And they
Mhm.
lost one way. One way both of them lost was that Sean Strickland was in their
The
face
pressure.
constantly.
Yeah, the pressure, right? Did you
He
see his
was
fight with
putting the
Jared Cannonier?
wait now, wait. He was putting the pressure. He was putting the pressure,
Mhm.
right? And what we've learned is that if you fight easy like that, you would have a bit of success, right? Because people are scared of putting pressure on easy because they know he's striking and he can pick
The
you
counter
apart.
striker.
He's a very
He's a
good
counter
counter
striker.
striker.
Yeah.
Same way Imavov is. He is a very good counter striker. I saw his fight with Jared Cannonier. There was so many.
Mhm.
Jared was like going back to that jab, and then
Mhm.
he was catching Jared with some nasty counter strikes. So many uppercuts he was slipping in there as well.
Mhm.
So, are you saying that seeing both of them, seeing how much successful Sean Strickland was with both of them, I feel like Imavov is very good of a striker and he can strike in very, very short distance.
Mhm.
He constantly puts that pressure on Easy. Waiting you think say Easy go do.
And remember when I started with the analysis, right? I said round 1, the leg kicks, right? So the leg
Mhm.
kicks would actually limit his mobility. So he's got some speed, right? But I don't think he's faster than Easy. And I don't know if you saw his fight with Brendan Allen, right? Brendan Allen sort of gassed out. Brendan Allen was actually picking Imavov out in the first round, right? So
Mm.
if you fight a tactical fight, and Easy is this dominant guy that can dictate the pace of a fight, right? I don't think there are levels to this game. I don't think Imavov is on the level of Easy. So I think if Easy is able to catch him with those legs, those leg kicks, the only person I think is better than Easy with leg kicks in the whole of the UFC right now is probably Pereira, right? Easy is really, really good at aiming those leg kicks. We saw that in the Costa fight, right? So I feel like if he can do another Costa like clinic, and even with the first and the second fight with what's the Australian guy's name? The former champion, Robert Whittaker, right? You saw how Whittaker was charging into easy, right? Nobody bleeds better than Whittaker in the middleweight division except from Dricus Du Plessis, right? Dricus Du Plessis and Whittaker are the best blitzers in the middleweight division. So Imavov doesn't have that speed to blitz easy, right? And he's not a Sean Strickland that is stubborn enough to stand in your face, right? And, keep the pressure on you. He doesn't have the kind of chin that, Sean Strickland has. And I think that was the downfall of Sean Strickland against Alex Pereira. He underestimated the power of the left hook, right? So he thought that, I have a strong chin, I can pressure him. But we all saw how that fight ended, right? So styles make fights, right? Imavov doesn't have that kind of chin. If he tries to bring that kind of game plan to easy, come on, you're probably going out in round one. So stick to the game plan. Start, from the bottom. Is a bottom top approach. Weaken the legs, weaken the mobility, and you can shoot for.
Yeah. So I'm going to
head kicks. The question mark kicks is like a whip. It's like a slap to your face.
So yes, I get that. And I'm going to be devil's advocate, even though everybody knows I'm for easy for this fight, but I'm going to tell you what I think about Imavov. I think Imavov's chin has not been tested yet. His losses in the UFC were all unanimous or split decision losses. He hasn't been finished. I saw when he was fighting Cannonier, he was taking some bombs and he was surviving. He was just coming on.
Off. He was backing up.
Yeah, but he was surviving. That's what I'm saying. But Easy, we know that Easy's chin has suffered recently, right?
Yeah.
There was a lasting. If there's a lasting effect on that chin after you fight Alex Pereira twice, and then you fight Dricus. So we know that. Anyways, before I finish my point, ladies and gentlemen, I have to put entrance music for this person. You hear, ba? So this is it. All the way from London, England, ladies and gentlemen, he's a business partner and a business tycoon. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the man of all ladies. Children love this guy.
Three of the Wazobian gang.
Yes, he's the trio of the Wazobia gang. Ladies and gentlemen, this is none of
Let's go.
Ebuka streaming live from this side. Ebuka de heaven. What is this for your background?
Look at that.
Your green screen.
Ebuka, can you
Finally.
There's a background music I can hear. Oh gosh. I forgot background music. I was telling Ebuka to turn off that music. Welcome.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your boy, the Tycoon, here, coming to you all the way. You know what it is,
the
guys.
Heavens, the seventh heaven, like Sam Clef Noni. All right.
What's up with your green screen, bro?
Yeah, this is what, I guess this is what the MacBook gets you. My screen right now is not the best, so I had to just put this behind me, and I actually like it. It's wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks like you're actually up there.
I mean,
ladies
I'm
and
on cloud
gentlemen,
9 right now.
In case you don't know, this is the Wazobia gang. And Ebuka, while you are not here, what we were talking about Imavov.
Yeah, let me take this off for 1 second. I mean, finally, we have an easy card, guys. Finally. I've been waiting for an easy card in a while. So, easy cards are always awesome, because that guy is an absolute superstar. And I would love
big shout out to Harry. Finished. Harry, we see you in the live chat. So you think Chimaev beats Dricus. We are going to get to that. Hey, it's my brother. So I was just about to finish a point with regards to Imavov, so I'll take it from the top again. for those in the back in case they did not hear the first time. So Imavov and Izzy have one thing in common. They both lost to Sean Strickland. And how did Sean Strickland beat them? By applying pressure, doing his shilly boxing, and never stop coming forward. He was coming forward constantly and counter striking. And we see both of them don't like it. You might say, oh, Izzy was suffering from this, or there were some adversities he's fighting that we don't know about, right? And he has fought pressure fighters before and he has done well. But there's a difference between a pressure fighter like what Sean Strickland was doing, that is actually good at counter striking, and a fighter that blitz moment from moment. They choose their moment and blitz. There's a difference, right? Because one has you constantly in your back foot, and the other allows you to set up strikes, to set up angles and stuff. So they throw you off very very much well if you are a good striker. However, Izzy is known to be a very good counter striker, and this is what Imavov has to do to beat Izzy. Imavov has to put the pressure. He is very good in like close striking, when you are very close to your opponent. He
Yeah, in the
understands the
pockets, in the clinch
you-
situations, yes.
yeah, he understands the angles and the techniques to like switch angles, switch stances, move. If your fighter moves this way, you move that way. However, Izzy is a very high level kickboxer, as we know, and his resume says. But if Imavov has to win this, he has to mix it up with grappling very, very heavily. And if, in my opinion, he shouldn't wait to be like, because most fighters, what they do is they use the first round to test the waters to understand, okay, is my striking good enough to fight this guy? If I was Imavov, I'll start wrestling from the first round when everybody is dry and not sweaty or oiled up, if you get what I mean.
To be in Derek
Uh,
Brunson situation.
so, so if Imavov comes in there and tries to wrestle Easy and maybe have some success on the ground, we know Easy has good takedown defense, but his highest rate of takedown defense is against the cage. If Imavov can shoot for a takedown in the middle of the cage and gets one and kind of keeps Easy there for like 30 seconds or a minute, then it's going to be in Easy's head the whole fight. And then that's how he will be mixing his striking with his wrestling, and that's how he's going to catch Easy when Izzy is not expecting it. And once he does that, we know that Izzy's chin is not what it used to be. It has gone through 2 rounds with Alex Pereira, who is a very, very
Yeah, it's there.
notorious striker. His chin also was tested by Dricus Du Plessis, and we know Izzy is in his late 30s, and the chin is not what it used to be. So if
Mid
Imavov
30s,
finds
I think.
what
It's early
36,
30s. Yeah, it's mid
well,
30s.
yeah, fine.
Yeah.
I don't know at what point we'll say is late or mid.
Late is
Any-
38 upwards. Mid is 35, 34, 36.
34 to 36 is
Yeah.
mid, yeah.
Big shout out. John Doe says Easy was one of my favorite, but I think the reason he's losing is simple. He's slow. He's much slower than he used to be. Um, I think even as slow as you think Easy is now, I don't think speed will be the problem. I think he would still be faster than uh, Nasruddin. But here's what I think age has taken away from Easy: the pop in his shot, right?
And the chin.
Power,
Yeah.
yeah, the
Popping the
power
shots and
he
the
used to
chin.
strike.
Yeah.
I feel like age has taken that a little bit away. We've seen Easy get finishes, but nowadays, not only when he's keeping it safe to the later rounds, but like we've seen people take his strike and still keep coming forward. Like recently, it's almost like they don't respect his striking anymore, and that's because when you're fighting someone and they hit you in the face and they don't feel it as heavy, then they will continue coming. So I'm just saying, I'm just making an argument for Imavov here. By the way, I'm Nigerian, so obviously I want Easy to win, and I think I think Easy would win. But I think if Imavov mixes that grappling and that striking, my brother, ah, it's going to mess up
It'll be
Easy's
tough.
striking. Ebuka, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Imavov himself is not, although he's, he obviously has that of in his name, he's not the most proficient sort of grappler himself. If you look at some of
He
his,
was born in France.
exactly. So, I think in the UFC, I've watched a lot of his fights. I saw him against Gerard Cannonier. And some of these other guys, he's you wouldn't say he's the most proficient sort of grappler. So I think it will be mainly a stand-up fight. I think to the point that John is making that he's slower. He's slower now. Well, that could be true. That could be a factor, of course, in the fight. I think Imavov is younger, and it's going to be an interesting one. I think it will be fascinating, and I think it will be fun. But I still think in terms of stand-up game, I still think Easy still has more on his armor to win this fight. Also, I think he can stuff the takedown defenses that this guy will try. And once he does that on the stand-up, I think I see Easy winning it, but not sure how. I don't know. I think the first time we talked about this fight, I probably predicted a knockout at some point for Easy, but not sure. We'll see. Maybe let me see what happens next week during the review.
Third round knockout.
Yeah, I think that was what I
Mark my
said or
words.
something. But yeah, I think
John Doe UFC says I agree he will beat Imavov, but people don't talk about how fast Strickland is. Easy is 2019. In 2019 we smoked Strickland. However, he's too slow now. Well, I wouldn't say too slow again, because when Easy was on his prime, he was very quick, much quicker than most of the middleweights. Because as you can see, Easy is clearly a small middleweight. He's not really in the heavy side of middleweights. So he when people say Easy to jump to light heavyweight, it doesn't work because he doesn't have the frame for light heavyweight. We saw when he tried going up there and against Blachowicz, and it didn't work. We saw when he was fighting Alex Pereira in middleweight, and Alex looked like a beast in front of him. Same as Dricus Du Plessis looked like a beast in front of him. So that's why he was quick. Even now, he's still quicker than most of the middleweights, even though the game has been changing lately. So with the predictions, Demola says a third round finish for Easy. Ebuka says a third round finish for Easy. And I say a unanimous decision victory for Easy. I feel like Easy will win 4 rounds.
Why do you like decision victories?
Because I don't want to say it's the easiest, but because of show me what you've done recently. Imavov's last 2 fights were unanimous decision victories, right? Wait a minute. Oh no, the Cannonier fight was
let me check.
A fourth round finish.
It was a knockout. Yeah, it was a knockout. TKO.
It was a fourth round finish that was argued by a lot.
And then he stopped it.
Yeah, it was an early stoppage because they stopped it while Cannonier was still standing. His last fight was a unanimous decision finish as well. And we're not going to have that issue of 5 rounds because Imavov has main evented 2 fight nights. He has gone the distance twice already. Well, John Doe agrees with me. He says I think Easy wins by decision. Imavov will start strong, but Easy will pick him up and get him tired and tee off in the 4th or 5th. Actually, how I see it, I think Easy will do very well in the first 4 rounds or in the first 2-3 rounds, and the championship rounds, I think Imavov would kind of like make the fight closer. So maybe Easy 48-47. That's how I see it happening. Moving on.
I won't be surprised if I saw a submission victory by Easy.
Oga, you've been Easy's last 3 fights. You've been calling submission. It has not happened.
Don't worry. This is the time.
Okay, all right. And all Easy's predictions. Every time I predict unanimous.
Okay, we can only wait and see.
Yeah, so now let's talk about the big cat in the bag. And as you can see in the thumbnail of this video, we were talking about manifesting Easy versus Dricus 2. All right. The easiest way to talk about Easy meeting Dricus again is if Easy beats Imavov, and then in a couple of weeks he goes to Australia and stand cage side. And if Dricus beats Strickland, he goes into the cage and they do a face-off again because they've done it before. So that is my own manifestation. However, how do they get there? Demola, how do you see this?
My African brother, I'm the brother of yours, son.
I'm no brother. I'm African, but I'm no brother of yours, son.
Whoa, but then I think they have a better relationship now. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Easy knocks out or submits Imavov next week, and of course later on we are
The
going
way
to
you
Easy
casually
in
say this,
Australia,
man.
and
Yeah, he's so confident.
Dricus. Yeah, I am overly confident. Bet the house on Easy, guys. Dricus, right? I did bet big on Dricus in that first fight, and I got really scared because it was a very close fight. But Dricus is a champion, and he's a champion for a reason. And you know what the belt does to you? It gives you extra confidence. And look at the run of fights. Look at the schedule he's had. Right, his run of schedule has been amazing. You know, you've beaten how many former champions now? Three former
He beat
champions,
Bron.
right?
He
Yeah,
beat he on his way to the title. He beat Brunson, Whitaker,
yeah,
Easy, Strickland. Yeah,
yeah. Those are three former champions. You beat Whitaker, a former champion. Strickland, a former champion. Easy, a former champion. You know, you see that kind of wave, that confidence wave that Merab Duvalishvili is on in the bantamweight division. That is the kind of confidence that Dricus is riding in the middleweight division, right? They are underrated, but they are overperformers, right? Because they've got that talent and then they put in the hard work. You know, it is very visible. Dricus is a hard worker, and he's coming in with the chip, you know, on his shoulder because a lot of people thought he did not win that first fight because of how close it was. Even Dana White thought Strickland, you know, did win the first fight. So Dricus is coming, you know, with vengeance, you know, on his mind. He wants to set the record straight, and I will not be surprised if Dricus should knock out Strickland. Strickland has a good chin on him, but we saw what Pereira did to him, right? And Dricus is very unconventional, but is effective. So I think Dricus will finish Strickland in the second fight, and we'll see setup. We'll see the face off. Don't worry.
all right, all right. So you are not arguing against
Nah,
this
no
because
way.
this
It's gonna
it's one
happen.
of those things. It's one of those things in matchmaking where you be like, okay, I hope this guy wins, and then I hope this guy wins. So this guy. So
Yeah,
that's the problem with MMA, irrespective of like WWE. If this was WWE, we'll just book them for both of them to win and then meet in the finals. But
See, the only fear I have right now is Chimaev, because Chimaev might want to start, you know,
mm,
pushing for that title shot. And I think to
mm,
some extent he's earned that right to deserve the title shot.
Chimaev has
So
earned the right to call for a title
yeah,
shot. However,
yeah.
however,
So
however, Chimaev has an issue. Issue is he's got the health issue, he's got the visa issue thing going on,
mhm.
and the UFC love him. However, I've said however 3 times now. If Easy beats Imavov, right, and Dricus beats Strickland, no matter what Chimaev wants to do, he cannot interfere in that matchmaking. They must do Easy versus Dricus too. Remember, Easy's Dricus's camp in their entire life, they've never received a
They've never
big
been that kind of
paycheck.
money.
They've never received a big fight post like when they received the pay-per-view. Because if you're a champion, you get the pay-per-view points. So when they fought Easy, they've never fought in a card. Obviously, Drake was fought in a Conor McGregor card, but he didn't have a pay-per-view point at the time. But like he was the A side and Dracos was the B side. And the A side as a champion, we get pay-per-view points. And he received the biggest paycheck he has ever received in his life. And that means that all his camp, all his cornermen, they got a percentage of it, and it was a very fat check, probably life-changing.
Juicy,
They
juicy.
want that again. After that fight, even though nobody can justify Easy getting another fight, they were out there saying, we want to fight Dricus, Dricus camp. We're out there saying, we want to fight Easy again. We know what you guys are after. But so here's my thing why I think Chimaev is not going to get that title shot. if there is a fighter that is not named Conor McGregor that gets what he wants in the UFC, it's Easy. So many times we've seen Easy called for fights that have happened, i.e., when he fought Yoel Romero. Romero was not worthy of a title shot, and he fought him because he called for him. Even when
Even
he fought Sean
Cannonier,
Strickland, yeah, when he fought Jared Cannonier, the same thing. Cannonier wasn't worthy of a title shot. When he fought Sean Strickland, he could just wait like 1 or 2 months to fight Dricus, but he said, nah, he's going to fight Strickland, right?
Yeah.
And then he did that because he wants to do it. I remember like even as a
contender.
title contender against Dricus, Easy was the person to first announce the fight. That's how much control and balls he have
Is the
in
A
the
side.
UFC. So
Let me ask you a
when
question. Have you seen
when
the Easy documentary, the
wait,
Stylebender
the, the
documentary?
the movie one? No, I haven't. Have you
Yeah, the
seen it?
movie.
Where
I've seen
did
it.
you see it?
It's on YouTube,
What is
US American YouTube.
Oh, so you have to
So
use a VPN.
yeah, so if you
So
have
I
it,
think what
he
we'll
said
do,
something. He said something
we'll wait,
that
wait, wait. What,
hit
what we
me.
will
He
do?
said, "I am set
Wait,
for life."
wait,
That
wait,
guy
wait,
set for
wait,
life, bro.
wait. What we will do is in the next couple of weeks we'll watch it and do a review for it.
Okay, fine, fantastic, fantastic.
Yeah. So what I was going to land is Easy has the drawing power and he has the say so. He has so much
That
control
guy's
in the
made
UFC.
money.
And after if he beats Imavov and he says he wants Dricus next or the winner between Dricus and
They'll
Strickland,
get
he's absolutely gonna get it. Chimaev just has to probably fight the loser of Strickland versus Dricus. But if Imavov beats Easy,
Oh,
then definitely Chimaev is next up. We've got Jacques Vos. He says, "Don't see Easy versus Drake because the thing that's coming up is DDP versus Kamzat. This would be DDP's biggest challenge. Yet Strickland might be submitted because the fact he asked DDP stay standing." Um, we are absolutely looking past a Strickland versus Dracos fight because my opinion, I see Dracos like running over running over
team
Strickland.
rolling him.
He be, so he beats Strickland anyhow he wants, in my opinion. I know everybody
Mhm.
criticizes Dracos for having a weird weird fighting style when he's standing. I think
It's effective.
I think he
Works.
outstrikes Strickland with his Philly shell type of boxing. And I think when they go to the ground as well, he has the advantage there because that man's strong. That man's strong.
Guys,
And again, for the reasons I've
man.
given, if Easy beats Imavov and he says he wants that title fight, even Chimaev's father cannot take it away. The UFC would do it. We do it. The only reason
Uh,
Chimaev would get that title shot, right, is if Easy loses. And I'm telling you this, listen, yeah. Even if Easy loses to Imavov and the UFC asks Chimaev, do you want to fight for the title against Dricus or do you want to headline a pay-per-view in Abu Dhabi with Adesanya? What would he choose?
you pick Easy now.
He
That's
would choose
yeah, you pick
Adesanya.
Easy.
That's much of a draw. That's much
Yeah,
of a draw Adesanya
yeah,
is.
yeah, better
Because
money and his style is more
because
favorable to
because
his
it's
style.
there's also the thing in fighting where you'd say you've stolen the thunder or passing the
Mhm,
baton or some shit
mhm,
like that.
mhm.
um that would be more beneficial in his career per se, because we've seen Dustin Poirier and McGregor go back and forth when Poirier could fight for the title and he decided I will wait out and fight McGregor because that's where the money is at for me at the moment,
For
and the
me,
yeah.
UFC would
true.
actually prefer to do
I
that.
mean, that's
But
not new. That's not
hmm?
new. That's not new
What's
that
that?
people are going for the money fights. It's normal in fights in the fights game.
Hmm?
Ah,
It's
you're
not a
not going
new
to use
thing at
belts
all.
to feed your kids, man.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Belts will not pay the bills. So
You know, like I said previously, when Easy said I am set for life, it struck me in a different kind of way because man, those guys have
Hmm.
made life changing money. And Hamzat, right? Uh, I
Hmm.
hope you guys know that Hamzat has a relationship with the leader of Chechnya. So Hamzat
Hmm.
is not under that financial pressure to kind of make money from the UFC because
Hmm.
he's well taken care of by his brothers, from
family.
Chechnya, right?
Well,
He
because of his
probably doesn't have that
relationship with
money
those
himself.
with that
Yes.
Chechnya politics, because of his
Yeah.
relationships, he got banned in the US. He can't go to the US, and that takes away from his livelihood, doesn't it?
Yeah, but he's well taken care of. I think the guy gifted him a Mercedes
But
Benz, crashed to the Benz, and I think the next week he bought another Benz for him.
I mean,
So
but
basically,
then
he doesn't have the money, right?
it,
But
it
they take care of him,
probably it
so he's
probably works
fine.
in his favor because it means that he
Yes.
gets to fight mainly in Saudi, in
Mhm.
all these
Abu
other places,
Dhabi.
which he doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily have to pay tax, right? So
Mhm.
it's actually I mean,
I also heard
who wants to
that
fight in the US
they wanted to
anyway?
I heard they wanted to do, well, this is rumor as well. None has been confirmed that he was meant to fight Dricus, but he couldn't get because the UFC were going to the Australia in their calendar. He couldn't fight in Australia as well because he can't get an Australian visa as well. So
That's
you
wild.
see how much of a
If
liability he'll become for the UFC if he actually
Yeah,
wins
that's
the
the thing.
title.
That's the reason they probably wouldn't put him in a title fight because he's not reliable in terms of if in terms of his health. Someone
even
mentioned
his health
that's
as
also a
well.
problem. His health as well. He's always having I don't know if he's issues with his lungs or something,
Mhm.
and then the fact that as well he can't necessarily fight in so many jurisdictions is a bit
Isn't
of
it
an
funny?
issue.
Isn't it funny that the
Um,
whole shtick of Chimaev and what the reason why he blew up was I fight anytime, anywhere, I kill
I kill
everybody.
anybody.
He fights week back to back, and now we barely get a Chimaev fight in a single year. Isn't that
It's
crazy?
wild. Life,
yeah,
it's just life for you.
Yeah, Jacques Vos wants us to talk about this UFC Africa situation. We just don't have big enough closed stadiums, and I could accommodate the fight, but the government would close a stadium. DDP is a star here. Yeah, we've spoken about this so many times about UFC
Wishes and
Africa
wishes.
and where it's going to be hosted. And I remember there's a forum I was on where a South African reporter asked Dana White, is Dricus's next fight title defense gonna be in South Africa, in Africa? And Dana White, being a promoter that he is and the king of all bullshit, was like, yes, Dricus' next fight is in South Africa. I said, and people were like jubilating in the comments, and I was telling them, like, yo, it's not going to happen. We were here in the era of the three kings, and they were saying,
Yeah.
oh, we're coming to Africa this year, this year, this year. And here's the thing again, the business model of UFC has changed. A lot of people don't know this, but their deal with ESPN Plus is coming to an end. And
Mhm.
the UFC are under the TKO umbrella. The TKO is the guys that own UFC and WWE. WWE now is mostly
on
streamed globally on Netflix
Netflix, yeah.
before the for many regions in the world, right? Except for America, where SmackDown is somewhere else, but Raw is on Netflix. And here in the UK, for example, on Netflix, we get all the pay-per-views of WWE. We get all, they don't even call them pay-per-views anymore. They call them premium live events. We get all of them on Netflix. Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, Tuesday Night NXT. Everything is on Netflix. Streaming now is where it's at. Pay-per-view model
Mhm.
is a thing of the past.
Exactly.
WWE got $5 billion, $5 billion to get UFC events on their platform, right?
Wow.
That is going to cover everything. If they like, may they do 10 events a year, 10 pay-per-views a year, and sell a million pay-per-views in a year, it would not get to that 5 billion, right?
Wow.
So what's the point of a pay-per-view model? You understand? There's that argument. And even if they come onto the Netflix platform, Netflix does not have the feature of pay before you watch, just like Amazon Prime has. Like
I
you
mean, they
see a
can
movie
put
and you
it.
can.
They can put it.
No,
Who
it's
says
not.
they can't
Well,
add it?
it's not as it's not as easy as you it will sound technically IT wise, because the whole model of Netflix is subscribe. Netflix don't even, they barely even have free versions. You don't get to do trials. They just know that they are the hottest streaming platform. You've got to subscribe to watch in it. So there's a big discourse right now. So many rumors flying around that UFC is only also going to take that WWE model, and the pay-per-view would not matter anymore. right?
Wow.
Talk about
But it's
being the
possible that
monopoly.
Amazon might actually bid
Coming
for
into the
streaming
space.
rights
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
would definitely
That's a
be,
possibility.
because right now we are in the streaming wars era.
Mhm.
Disney
Yeah.
Plus is there, Amazon Prime is there, Prime Video is there. There's something called
That
Max.
zone is there as well.
There's something called Max in America. There's Peacock as well in America. Peacock was initially taking the WWE as well. Essentially, that's where it's at right now. So next deal of the UFC will
I mean,
determine
even
a lot of
YouTube as
things.
well. Yeah.
You read my mind.
YouTube is
You read my
Yeah,
also
mind.
place. Yeah.
YouTube.
so here's
I
the
saw
thing.
Star
Here's
Bernard's movie. There are a lot of
let me let
movies.
me
Top
let me
movies
let me
on
explain something.
now.
On YouTube. Yeah.
Let me explain something that you probably did not think about. The effect that streaming is going to have in the UFC is going to be a benefit for international pay-per-views, because UFC would not bother about selling pay-per-view again. So that means if UFC goes to Africa, they don't care about any pay-per-view or how many people are going to buy to watch, because they already have made their money. So they don't care about the starting time. They don't care about if it's starting at 12 a.m. American time or prime time anyway. They don't care about that anymore. That is going to open up the brand globally more to over 300 million subscribers of Netflix. So this is what I think is going to happen first before we actually get a UFC premium live event in Africa. If the UFC comes to Africa now, it's going to be a fight night. And if it's a fight night, we cannot get a title fight on it. And Dricus cannot fight on it, because I think Dricus is going to be a champion for a long time. So, yeah, that's that's what I was spending this whole time talking about. But think about it. I believe I'm going to be rooting for this Netflix deal to happen. So me, selfishly, I could get all my WWE and all my UFC in the same place. Bro, I already pay like 17 pounds a month for Netflix.
It's
Wouldn't
going
that
to
be
be a power
fantastic?
tussle. It is going to be a power tussle, probably
Yeah.
between Netflix, Amazon Prime, and YouTube, because
YouTube. Yeah.
YouTube have that
Yeah.
Google pool. They have the Google money, and they
Yeah.
would probably pay a premium to get the UFC on the platform. We'll see. We'll see. It's
And
interesting
the
to
thing
see
is,
what the future
with
holds.
Netflix, I believe this is how the conversation will go. The UFC, when they are on ESPN Plus, right? They are streaming free the prelims on ESPN Plus, but to watch the main pay-per-view, you have to pay.
Yeah, just
You
the same thing
understand?
with UFC Fight Pass. Yeah.
Yeah. So when they go to have their meetings with Netflix, they'll bring that payment conversation into the conversation, like, but we want people to pay extra for our pay-per-views. And this is where the Netflix guys will be like, yeah, but we're giving you guys 5 billion. This is more than what you would make if Conor McGregor fights on every card of every year. Right? So, and then if you're an accountant there, as a demola you are, if Netflix pays
Ebuka
5
is an
billion,
accountant as well.
well, if
Yeah.
Netflix
I
pays
mean,
$5 billion for WWE, they will pay 10 billion for UFC, right?
yeah.
And then
They have
apart
the
from
money.
that, and apart from that, entering them, there's also all this collaboration money that they are collecting from the Saudis. Know how much Saudi is paying them to come. Collaboration money they are collecting from UAE, the Abu Dhabi deal. The only thing that will be in their mind is to put out shows and sell tickets. Everything else is sorted.
Wait, even talking about Abu Dhabi now, I just remember you guys are not going to talk. Are we not going to talk about the PFL fight that happened road to Dubai
In Dubai?
Yesterday.
yesterday? It was actually a good
Abeg.
show. It was sold out.
Yeah, I know. That
This
main
guy is
event
number
was
one
crazy.
enemy of the PFL. Number one state enemy of the PFL. And of course, yesterday when
Who
I was
is
watching it,
PFL
I
enemy?
said, you, Jibril Aminu, Jibril the African fighter Aminu. This guy dislikes the model or even the name P. He just say P. Don't say FA. He's already upset. I don't know,
PFL,
but they have,
PFL,
in my opinion, become a bigger competitor to the UFC, whether we like it or not. The market is opening up. The market of MMA is opening up, brother, right? You have the PFL. Now we're hearing about the GFL, right? Whether we want to
That nonsense.
talk
Clown
it down
show.
and say it's UFC rejects or UFC whatever it is, right? Castaways, but they are still putting up something. So MMA market is no longer a pure monopoly. And you
GFL,
have to
someone
believe in
says
that.
GFL stands for Grandfather's League.
So,
It sounds like the
see,
G League of the NBA, but
Yeah.
it's still something. You're just giving people, you're creating content. That's also the truth.
Yeah.
And MMA is actually spreading out, whether we like it or not.
thank you, courageous. Thank you, courageous.
GFL is trash. Whether it's trash
So,
or not, but bro,
I feel
they
like
are putting out content.
if I start talking about the many issues with all these stupid PFL and the stupid GFL,
You see this guy?
if I start
Number one
talking
bullshit
about
guy.
the many many
You do the
issues,
we will.
see, listen, yeah, nobody gives an about keeping scores of a table, points, and so hear me out. All the sports lovers, we are football fans, all of us here. We are basketball fans. We watch the NBA, we watch the Premier League. We understand you win 3 points, you lose 1 point, blah, 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 blah. But people are sentimentally connected to these franchises. You grow up, somebody like here in England, growing up in a family of an Everton team, you don't have a choice. You have to be an Everton fan. You understand? It's almost like a religion. So you have to invest your time in understanding the standings. But then in MMA, a fighter only has like 5 years of prime. You cannot be a star more than 5 years at your best, except if you are John Jones, right? Only a few differences, right?
Anderson Silva, John Jones.
People do not have enough time to invest in a fighter that they would actually care about seeing standings and points and all of that. Do you understand? So the point of view trying to bring what happens in other sports, the model that happens in other sports into fighting, into a sport that when you watch it, when you see the fighters, you can only, when people actually like a fighter, they like him for where he's from first, before they actually even like his fighting style. They'll look at him and be like, what made Conor McGregor become so big? The Irish fans got him over. Anytime he fights in the US, they fill up half of the arena, right? Because he's Irish first. They recognize that first. If Conor was in PFL and he fought first season and the Irish came over, if Conor loses in the semi-final, that's it. We would never hear about him again. Because the model does not work. You understand? And now this model, what happens is if you win, if you are a wrestler and you win unanimous decision from beginning to end. You just take that $1 million and you beat everybody's favorite and nobody cares again. So that model does not work. I've said it time upon time.
Aside from the model not working, right? I want to say something that alludes to your point, right?
No, we actually agree.
The thing is, me, I'm a nerd, right? And would I say fortunately or unfortunately, I now became an MMA nerd as well, right? Now, the three of us on the screen are not casuals of the sport. Whether you like to call yourself a casual, but unfortunately, I'm sorry to break it down to you, you're not a casual, right?
I'm a casual.
Unfortunately, you can deceive yourself, right? But you cannot deceive the general public. You cannot deceive the general public, right? So
go on, make your point.
You are not a casual, but see, you know that I am an evangelist of the sport of MMA. There are so many people who have come to know the sport of MMA because of me. And I'll tell you this from the point of view of a casual, right? There is a certain casual that I introduced to MMA. You know, they were watching UFC, they liked the whole idea, even though they don't like fighting naturally. But there was this day I was watching a PFL event. Guess what? And this same person that was attracted to the UFC was watching that PFL event. And the person was like, is it the same sport? Like, This one does not have good packaging like the UFC. And then it struck a chord in my head that the difference between the UFC, right, and the PFL, Bellator, Cage Warriors is not really about the quality of the fighters. It's about the quality of the packaging of the entertainment content. Bruv, UFC have a strong media marketing hype machine, and they have presentation. Presentation is everything. If you go to a 5-star restaurant, right, they can serve you food that is not as sweet as Mama puts, but the way they present that food, right?
Let me,
and that's the difference between the UFC
let me
and
finish.
the PFL, brother.
Let me tell you
the
difference. Let me tell you the difference. Thank you for bringing that. It just brought one analogy to my head, right?
Good, fantastic.
If you go back in time, the oldest sports in the world is fighting. When the people, Homo sapien, Homo erectus, whatever you believe in, how humans came to live in this
survival
world.
of the fittest. Human beings have always been fighting.
It was John Doe versus John Doe, or one person versus the other. People understood, if you beat this person, it's over, right? Translate that to sports and then translate to promoting it. Gerard Cannonier is fighting Alex whoever. There's nothing else connected to it. Two people are fighting, and before that fight, they give you a video package. This is this person's story. This is this person's story. This is this person's background. This is this person's background. You as a human being, you watch that video package, you see the reason why this person is fighting.
You get connected. I'm sorry, I want to add a point that
wait. Let me finish. Okay, I know you want to say it. You want to say it.
Continue. Okay.
They are not, when the UFC are promoting those fights, they are not bombarding your brain with this person has 3 points, 2 points. Remember, if you win, you have this one. If you win, you did it. There is nothing like that. The casual just want to know this person is fighting this person and this person wins.
Where's this person from? What's
this person is from here and this person is here. So all these people that are thinking UFC, they are the biggest promotion in the world. Don't you think that they would know to do tournaments? Don't you think that they know, as successful as they are, that tournaments don't work? You understand? And then you people,
the Ultimate Fighter.
You people keep on doing tournaments, and this stupid GFL that is trash is coming now to bring things together, saying this is team. You see what they were trying to do? They were trying to bank on people that would be like, yes, I'm from London, so I'm Team London. I'm from New York, I'm Team New York. That's what they are trying to do. But in the long run, the problem is that we have to start the event. And once they start the event, they cannot keep the attention of people when they start explaining points and start explaining tournaments. Nobody cares about that. It's very easy. I don't know what these people are talking about in their boardrooms. You understand?
You know something that alludes to your storyline, right? Now, you talk about the casuals. The casuals want to connect emotionally. And of course, the UFC, does some sort of psychological manipulation, right? There's this guy who was in my place in December, and I can tell you right now, this guy is subscribed to UFC Fight Pass actively. He's earning Dana White money, right? Why? Because he was able to connect with the stories of certain individuals that come from his country. Simple. Now, the PFL have fights, right? At the end of the fight, they don't even interview the winners. Does it make any sense? Like,
can we move on? This was not supposed to. This was not supposed to be your winners. This was not supposed to be in our schedule today.
We need to consult for the PFL. Like, they need it.
If you go to the GFL's website, their main face there is Tyron Woodley, who was knocked out by Jake Paul. Like, I think it tells you everything you need to know. Exactly. Go to their website now. If I can share my screen now, I will show you their main face is Tyron Woodley, who was not. So
that is what
I really don't understand the concept, but we'll see.
All right, guys,
London, Dubai.
We've ranted too long. Big shout out to Jacque. I swear, Jacque, I'm very sorry if I'm botching your name. I really don't know how to pronounce it. I'm pronouncing it as a French person, Jacque Vos. So, yeah, we'll just give a quick shout out to the 4 fighters, African fighters that are going to be in the Saudi card, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be seeing the prelims opener. We are going to be seeing Bolaji going on against Abdul-Kareem Al-Selwandy. Abdul-Kareem Al-Selwandy is a Palestinian fighter, so Bolaji is walking into the enemy's territory, not enemy's
Enemy
territory. He's going to be
territory.
walking into. He's going to be a villain essentially in that place. So, a Palestinian fighting in Saudi right now. Bolaji flying the. What is he flying? Which flag is he flying? Belgium flag. Bolaji is
Belgium,
currently
Zimbabwe,
one.
Nigeria.
Bolaji is currently 9-2 overall in the UFC. He's won one, lost one, and this is him trying to get back in the win column. Yeah, courageous Oki has to be more focused right now. It is going to be a very. It's not something to miss, to be honest. But maybe Okibolaji will be lucky that since it's early in the prelims, people would not have been gathered at that time. So he will probably get away with getting that pressure. And making his big UFC return, Egyptian heavyweight Hamdi Abdul Wahab. He's going to be fighting Jamal Porges in the UFC heavyweight division. This is the first time we'll be seeing Egyptian Hamdi since 2022. He was popped for using by at the time USADA for some illegal substance in his system. He won a fight by split decision and they had to cancel it to a no contest, hence why he is 3-0-1. He is currently undefeated. I pulled up an article. Should I read it or should I leave it alone?
Please read it. That's it.
All right.
Summarize.
Let me read it quickly. I'll just read the top. UFC heavyweight prospect Hamdi Abdul Wahab no longer has a promotional win to his resume. Actually, it was his UFC debut at the time. Friday, UFC anti-doping partner USADA recently he has been suspended for 2 years after he tested positive twice for anabolic agent methanolone and its metabolites. He also was flagged for a tampering violation. Abdul Wahab did not declare to use the methanolone on his onboarding declaration forms and did not establish a compelling justification for his failure to do so. A USADA announcement said, based on USADA's investigation, it determined that Abdul Wahab used the prohibited substance and knew of his obligation to declare it. The positive test stemmed from split decision loss and victory, and now it's been cancelled to a no contest. When combative sports contestants in Texas test positive for a banned substance, we place them on 90-day suspension. There was a statement that if contestant won the bout, we list the bout as no decision. We can also pursue administrative penalty and monetary penalty could also be issued against the contestant. This case has been referred to our enforcement division and for further investigation. So since then, this is his first time coming back. And how poetic would it be for him to be an Arab Muslim to fight in Saudi? He would be looking to fight a UFC veteran in
Jamal Pokes.
yeah. So I'm rooting for Hamdi, not because he's African, but we would like to. It's always nice to see a comeback story, because he hasn't been fighting for 2 years. His main source of livelihood was likely fighting. He had to go back to doing something else, but we would love to see this guy get back in the wins column as he always is. Big shout out to Abdul Wahab Hamdi.
And what better place to actually do it, in a territory that's friendly?
Yeah, he's fighting third on the card. All right. Winner of African Knockout of the Year, Fares Ziam, is going to be fighting Beast Boy Mike Davis.
I have my money on him.
You got your money on Mike Davis?
No,
okay.
Ziam.
No,
Fares.
Fares
Ziam.
No, Fares. Fares, Algerian French fighter.
He's the underdog.
We know he fights on those Paris cards, so he's a good bet, isn't he? Those Paris cards, and we saw that stupid, ridiculous knee knockout he had last year. A thing of beauty filled with violence. Ebuka, Have you put your bets in? And is this fight something you are looking to? Go
Which
your
of the
tickets?
fights? Which of the
Farezi
fights?
versus Mike Davis. Beast Boy Mike Davis
Uh,
versus Farezi. Yeah.
no, I'm not really interested in that kind of fight. No,
You're not
I'm
betting on
looking
this
for,
one.
I'm looking forward to I'm looking forward to Easy versus Imavov.
How about Jorginho Rosenstruck versus Sergey Popovich?
Oh
uh,
yeah, that's a good one.
my
That
money's on Biggie
Biggie
Boy.
Boy. Yeah, Biggie Boy
You
is my
know,
man. He's
you know me.
And
You
he's the
know
big
me.
underdog. He's the big
You
underdog.
know me.
Let me
When the
check. Let me check.
heavyweights, you will find me anywhere the heavyweights are fighting. I like to see big sweaty men beating each other. You know me. So there is how many meet first in this fight? There's only two meet first on this card.
where
Two
where is he
heavyweight
on?
fights.
Where is Biggie Boy on
3.4.
the card?
Three
Omo,
is close to
Omo,
the
I cannot see
co-main
Okibolaji on
event.
this thing. No.
Okay, yeah.
It's
Okibola
close to
Okay,
the co-main event.
probably.
It's the first fight of the night. Okay, Bolaji.
ah okay, because the fight card I have here, I think is wrong.
The
Yeah, it's the first fight of the
Abel
night.
versus Jamal Pocos. I'm looking at the UFC website and I can't even see
Yes,
that.
easy.
Yeah,
Courageous
Bolaji
Empires.
Oki. Yeah, it looks like they've moved it around a bit. So it's now in the prelims. It's the co-main of the prelims. Yeah,
Wow, interesting.
yeah,
That's nice.
Bolaji Oki. Yeah, it's the co-main. That has he fought in the UFC, boy? That guy has he? He has, right? And
Bolaji,
Hope that
he's
yeah,
has two fights.
is one on
two
One
fights,
one
one
right?
on
lost
one
to
in
Yeah.
the UFC.
yeah,
Yeah, he lost by
Oh,
submission.
yeah.
oh,
And he came
but he
in
won.
via
I
Dana
remember.
White's contender series.
I remember when he first won, and they were questioning him. Yes, sometimes this fight business is really is up and down. When you're winning, the hype is real, but then once you have a
Courageous,
loss,
God
Courageous
bless
says
you,
Jorginho,
Courageous.
he said
Yeah,
Jorginho is a more technical striker. You know what
he
make me
is.
laugh? You know what make me laugh? With all
Why?
his technical striking,
Francis,
when he
Francis.
was fighting Francis, the
I don't see
technicality
anything
went
you
out
want
of
to.
the window
I don't
because
see anything.
Francis
That's
looked
on
at that
another
brother and
level,
was
bro.
he
That's on
said he
another
looked
level, bro.
he looked at him and was like, you want to be switching stance with me?
I,
I
I,
don't
I,
care.
I don't say if you want
Francis,
call Francis
Fran-
as he told them.
Brute
Francis did.
force.
If na Mortal Kombat, if he press BBCA, he go do windmill. He do windmill with his hand.
Francis is brute force of nature. Come on, didn't you see him when we
Yes.
saw him? I was
Oh
just praying
yeah.
this guy shouldn't come for me. Come on, I'm a lightweight. Heavyweight, stay away.
All right, ladies and
Ooh,
gentlemen, I think it is time to call it a do. I said we are only spending 30 minutes with Demola, but unfortunately, he had to bring
Wait,
up PFL. So
wait a
this guy,
moment. There's a fight that interests me in what's it called? This fight, the co-main event. That's our
uh-huh.
guy. Ibuka and myself did meet him last year. That is MVP Michael Venom Page versus
Oh yes,
uh the
Shara
Pirate.
bullets.
Yeah, Charbonnet.
yeah,
My money again is on MVP. Even can you remember when I did meet him? I told him my money was on you against Ian Gary. But you let me down. But I forgive
yeah,
you, brother. But this time around, I think it's high time that Charbonnet actually gets exposed. I feel like he's
yeah,
actually overhyped. And when we see that Petrosian fight, that fight was
yeah.
close. But people tend to forget how close it was because of that double spinning, elbow knockout.
Elbow.
I think
Shebi,
MVP is a
She,
classy striker, and
Shebi,
he
I
gets his
told you,
day.
Yeah,
you guys
MVP
are
has a good
forgetting,
chance in that fight.
that they are fighting in middleweight. MVP is a natural welterweight. So, and Shara looks very big when he's fighting in that middleweight division. There is that aspect as well. But MVP has now been notorious for doing easy style and taking unanimous decision by points. I cannot guarantee that this is going to be exciting, although it will be entertaining with all the antics and showmanship that MVP would do. But I guess
Mhm.
we'll find out. And
MVP doesn't have to cut weight.
I agree with you. That last fight that Shara won, with that double back elbow. I mean, a back fist. It looked like a lucky shot to me, to be honest. And that fight, he
I'm
wasn't
telling
really
you,
doing very well.
it's close.
He is a fighter that every time he fights, he's hyped up, and then he comes out from a fight looking all bruised and battered. And then people will say, "Oh, he's the first Dagestani that doesn't know how to wrestle and has a very strong chin." How long would that chin last for? Fortunately for him, MVP is not a power striker. He's more about precision than actual power.
Mhm.
But I guess we'll find out.
Precision beats power and timing beats speed.
Oh,
The
shit.
words of the
Oh, shit.
legendary Conor McGregor. So we're gonna see it in play come Saturday.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
ladies and
Courageous
gentlemen.
Empire says MVP by a boring decision.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
As long as it gets the job done.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sticking with us. Please, if you have not hit the like button, we really, really appreciate that. Before we go, ladies and gentlemen, we start the show how we ended it. 5 bottles of NSC for everybody, including Ebuka. That was it.
He said 5 bottles of NSC VSOP. He said 1 for the DJ, 1 for the hype man. He said
so 1 for JB.
Table. His skin, no food, no poo body.
No poo body.
Come on, eat a spray perfume. Who you want to impress? Hello.
International. All right, guys. All right, apologies for annoying you there, but thank you. Hit the like button if you got this far. We really, really appreciate the love and support. Thank you. We out.